Hey y'all, Rylan here. Welcome to my channel. In 2020, especially after I created my Bookstagram account back in March, I purchased a lot of books. I'm not sure the exact number of books that I bought, but it was definitely over 100. It was a problem. I have no regrets or shame about it, but yeah, it was a lot and I should not have probably purchased all of those, but that's not the point. I'm glad to have every book that I have bought added to my collection, but there are a lot of books that I did buy that I never actually read. So my goal for this year, as I mentioned in my February TBR video, which I will link above, is to read the books that have been sitting on my cart or on my shelf over here since 2020 that I purchased but never read. I chose for today's video 5 books that I bought in 2020 that I should have read in 2020 but never actually read in 2020 to talk about. There are more than 5 books that I meant to read in 2020 but never got around to, but these are just 5 books that are like my top priority to read this year because I meant to read them in 2020 but never got around to them. The first book that I should have read in 2020 but will now be reading in 2021 is A Court of Wings of Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. I read ACOTAR and ACOMAF late last year. I think I read ACOTAR in August and ACOMAF in October, and I really enjoyed both of them. They were very, very good. I loved the world building and the characters, but I never got around to finishing that series, which is going to have the 4th installment coming out soon, which is very exciting. I read about 8 pages of this book back during the end of October and stopped, not because it was bad, but I just needed to take a break from super time-consuming books. So I'm going to be reading A Court of Rings and Ruin before the end of 2021, and hopefully I'll also read the 4th book, but that's also really, really long too. So we'll see if I end up getting to that one or if I wait a while to read that. This is the first book that I will be reading in 2021. Second book that I should have read last year but didn't is The Shadows by Alex North. I read The Whisper Man back in July for the reading rush, but didn't love it, so I decided not to read this one right away because I was supposed to read this book as well for the reading rush. But after my not super fun experience reading The Whisper Man, I decided to take a break for a little bit before I picked this one up as well. So 2021 is going to be the year that I do that. The third book that I should have read last year when I purchased it but did not read is Allegedly by Tiffany Jackson. I bought this book last year back when I was just starting to get into thrillers. This is a young adult thriller about a girl who is accused of killing the baby that she babysits for, and I've heard it's a tearjerker. I've heard it's so good. I'm hoping that because it is a thriller, it is suspenseful and mysterious, and it can be a quick read, but also something that sticks with me, I think, because I've heard that this book really hits people in their feelings. So I'm hoping that I love this book. I'm sure I will. I am really looking forward to reading this one. Another book that I should have read last year when I first purchased the book is Boyfriend Material by Alexis. I got this book back in August and meant to read it in October for a readathon that I was doing, but never got around to it. And it's fine. It's fine. I'm going to read it this year. This is a LGBTQ romance between Luke and Oliver. Luke is a rock star. I assume he's this one. He is reluctantly famous. That's on the back cover, so I don't know what that means at the moment. But he wants to, or needs to, I guess, find somebody who is normal. So he meets Oliver, who I believe is this one. And they end up fake dating, and that leads to real feelings, I assume. So I'm very excited for this one. I think it's going to be super fun and just lighthearted and entertaining. I think it's going to be really good. Boyfriend Material is book number 4 that I should have read last year. The final book that I bought last year and should have read but did not is Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. I bought this book in November. It was on my December TBR, but then my reading plans for December changed a little bit, so I never got around to picking this one up, but it's gonna happen this year. I am super curious about this book because nobody seems to like it, and I want to know why. I have heard this book compared to Bunny by Mona Awad. I read that book last year and I did not like it personally. Oops. I gave it 2 stars. It just all went like over my head, I guess, and I didn't personally enjoy it, but I was intrigued enough to finish the book, so obviously I finished the book, and yeah, I was just confused. So I'm kind of wondering if this is gonna do the same thing to me, but I hope not. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised. And maybe I won't be disappointed if I am just confused at the end, because walking into it, I know that people get very just like, what, when they read this book. So I'm looking forward to finding out for myself what this book is all about and why people seem to not like it so much. So these are the 5 books out of I don't even know how many that I should have read last year but never did. These are the 5 books that I'm going to make a priority to read at some point in 2021. I'm probably going to read Catherine House in March. I think I'm already making plans for that because I doubt I'll be able to squeeze it into my February TBR. But I mean, maybe I'll try, I don't know. If you have read any of these books and have any ideas on where I should start, please feel free to let me know, because I don't really know. Aside from Catherine House, I don't know what else I should read first, so let me know, and thank you for watching.